What does a blueprint look like to operate a successful restaurant that thrives and scales year after year? Well, I get asked that all the time. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I've helped open 30 restaurants from the ground up. I've helped implement training and systems for some of the top hospitality groups in the world, and I've helped turn them and make them thrive bigger and better every single year. And people always ask me, Preston, what does that blueprint look like? And I always tell them the same thing. Success leaves clues. Follow in the footsteps of other successful people. And I'll use Seymour Hotels as an example. And they're in Jersey off the Channel Islands. Seymour Hotels has been around for over 125 years, and they have been successful and growing ever since then. And what's their secret? Well, let's take a look inside. So Seymour Hotels has been around for over 100 years. That's no easy feat. They've been around for generation after generation. A lot of their employees have been around for over 15 years, and they even have a number of employees in their restaurant, in their groups, that have been here for around 20 years. Why? How? What are they doing? One of the most important things to sustain growth and to be able to be successful long-term is employee retention. Now that might sound obvious, but I don't think restaurant owners take enough time to actually do the math and see how impactful employee retention is. Now, employee retention can really benefit you in more ways than one. One of the huge reasons is training. Training costs money, and it should cost money. You should want to invest in training. You want to train your staff as best as humanly possible. You want to give them all the tools that they need to succeed and feel supported and ultimately become an ROI. Now, if you're looking at them saying they're going to be a warm body, they're going to serve the people that come in, they're going to do X, Y, and Z, that just turns into a cost. But if you're saying, I'm going to train them to get the most reviews, I'm going to train them to get the most upsells, I'm going to train them to give the guests the best experience possible, I'm going to train them how to get the guests to come back, I'm going to train them how to give elevated hospitality, I'm going to train them how to build trust in my brand, ultimately raise my brand value, well, then they become an ROI. They become review machines, and the reviews become marketing and sales machines. It has a snowball effect that's super powerful, but you have to focus on the training and training them right. You have to get it right off the bat. If you can do that, you're eliminating the cost of having to retrain people. Okay, on average, it costs about $15,000 to $20,000 a year to be retraining people on the regular. We want to eliminate that by keeping your employees, right? And these are just your hourly employees. I'm not even talking about salary employees. That's a whole other cost on its own. How do we keep them? Well, we go back once again to training. If you do the research, the statistics show that 45% of people leave a job early because of poor training. Think about it. Put yourself in their shoes. Poor training. When you walk into a restaurant for the very first time and you get poor training, what does that do to your mental? What do you start thinking about the company? What trust are you building? What precedent are you setting? Because if the training isn't 100%, they're gonna feel like maybe this company doesn't know what they're doing. They're not gonna have a lot of trust and faith in the company. Then when they get on the floor, if they're not well trained, they're not gonna be able to answer questions correctly, which makes them feel stupid at their tables, which builds anxiety, right? So now I'm at a table just hoping they don't ask me the wrong question and I don't have the answer to, right? I just wanna get through this transaction without looking stupid, without feeling like I have a bunch of weight on my back. How are they going to upsell if that's the mindset? How are they going to ask for a really good review if that's the mindset? They're not gonna be able to do it. What they're gonna do is get by. And then someone's gonna come in for the first time. They're gonna be greeted by this person who seems a little bit timid, not knowing what they're doing. They're gonna take it as someone who's being unauthentic and ingenuine and not caring about the experience, and they're on to the next place. They're not coming back to this restaurant, right? So that's why it's so important to train them the right way right off the bat. Because then if they get that server and that server is fully trained, they know the menu, they're versed in the drinks, they know what to say and how to say it, then all of a sudden it becomes about upselling, it becomes about guest experience, it becomes about reviews. So those are two things that are working side by side when you're giving your staff the right training. They're A, gonna feel supported, it's gonna build trust, it's gonna build loyalty, which is what you want. B, it's gonna make them have a better experience as a member of your staff. We treat our staff just like we treat our guests. Your staff are internal guests. Your internal guests are almost more important than your external guests because they're the ones controlling the levers. Are they gonna come back? Are they not? Are they gonna spend more money? Are they not? Are they gonna leave a review? Are they not? So we wanna focus on how do we get them there. You do it through robust training, you do it through systems. There has to be a well-developed training system in place. You have to test them, you have to give them assessments, you have to motivate them, and you have to have trained trainers actually executing this. You have to have leaders that can support that training. That's why these things are so important. Right off the bat, if you get that done, you're gonna start having a successful business and your operations are gonna be exponentially easier for you. Let me ask you this. If you have multiple employees that have stayed long-term, that means you're gonna have soldiers. You're gonna have people that are bought in because the longer you stay at a company, the more bought in you are, the more skin you have in the game, and the more pride you take in the work that you do because now this is your home, right? So you wanna have those long-term employees. Again, how do you do that? Well, it starts with training, and then after that, it starts by taking care of them, listening to them, making sure they feel supported, making sure they have the tools to succeed, and focusing on those things. You have to invest in those processes. If you're always giving them communication, right? They know when things are gonna be 86, they know when things are gonna change. exchange. They have that tight communication. They feel supported. If they need more silverware, they get more silverware. If they need more glassware, they get more glassware, and they feel supported that way. They're going to execute better and a higher level, which means your check averages are going to be higher and your reviews are going to be coming in, which means more people will be coming in because your reviews are better. Oh, why do you need this much silverware? Why do you need X, Y, and Z? Instead, it's like, I got your back. Let me take care of that for you. And over time, the snowball effect will turn into profits. We'll raise that margin, right? We'll get you ready to scale. We'll get you ready to grow. So yes, you're supporting them, but you're also able to hold them accountable better, because when you train them correctly, it's easy to hold them accountable when they don't do something because they've been trained to do it and you know they've been trained to do it. Long-term success, train them the right way, and then have developed leadership that actually leads them the right way, and then you'll see your numbers grow. Now, what I would ask you is, what do you think Ritz Carlton's training looks like? What do you think Hillstone's training looks like? Do you think it's simple? They're following around people for 5 days randomly, hoping they learn. Maybe there's a test here or there. Maybe there's a piece of paper given here or there. Or do you think it's robust, systematic, intentional, and progressive training that's trained by trained trainers? Do you think that that's what they do? The answer is, of course. Now, let me ask you this. How often do you think the Ritz Carlton refurbishes their training, re-ups their training, adds to their training, grows their training, adapts, evolves their training? And the answer is often, almost yearly, almost annually. And that's why Seymour is seeing the same results, as they follow the same exact model. They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They just know what works and they keep doing it. And that's why they've brought me in this year to help them reinvigorate their staff and their training. And I couldn't be more honored.